What is up, YouTube? I'm James, and today we'll be talking about Nepenthes carnivorous plants. Nepenthes are a genus of carnivorous vine found in tropical regions throughout the world. They usually fall into two classes. There are highland and lowland species. The highland species require more of a humid environment, and lowland species tend to like more sun. You really need to know which species you're working with specifically because each plant needs different care requirements. This species that we're working with today is Nepenthes Ventrata. This is my preferred species to work with. Nepenthes Ventrata is a hybrid of Nepenthes Ventricosa and Nepenthes alata. This plant's super sturdy, very drought tolerant, sun tolerant, all around the best starter Nepenthes to work with. Today what we'll be doing is repotting some of my plants. I've got this one long vine I want to cut down, and then just overall repot some of them, and we'll go over some cuttings and how to deal with new plants. So this is the plant that we will be working with today. This one I've had around for quite a while in the greenhouse. I've got this really long, nice vine on it. It did go into decline lately due to it being in these hanging pots. The way I have the greenhouse structured, these pots do not do well in keeping in humidity, so they dry out very often, and I would have to water it pretty much every day. So I'm over that. We're going to move it into actual grounded pots so we can keep our plants hydrated more. So I'm going to remove this. The older the vine, they tend to get more woody and brown like this. This is fine, just the plant's been along for a bit longer. I'm probably going to cut this off and turn all these leaves into cuttings. Alright, so we're going to trim up our vine now. What you want to do when you're taking cuttings is every couple leaves, make a cut, and then move on down the plant. So what we're going to do is go 1, 2, 3, snip, 1, 2, snip, 1, 2, snip, 1, 2, snip, snip, 1, 2, 3, and snip. Then you can set these aside for later, and we'll work with those after we repot our plant. You can use sphagnum moss mixed with perlite. I like just sphagnum moss because I want to keep my plants as wet as possible. We're also using a longer pot so that we can just take it, throw it in a plastic tray, and keep our plant watered for at least a couple days without having to maintain it. Alright, so what we're going to do is take our plant and we're going to just push in on the sides here. And this is just going to loosen the substrate from the sides of the pot. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom. And then once you feel like you've loosened your plant, you're going to do is take your fingers and put them between the base of the plant. I don't know if you can see that. Put your fingers between the base of the plant, and you're not going to pull on it, you're just going to support it as it falls out. So I like to tip it to the side so the pitchers can safely just flow with it, and then you can just kind of slide out your plug. Remove this, and then you can just kind of peel away at the top and the sides of the substrate to get to more of the roots so you can fit your new plant in its new pot. Okay, so we've gotten down to most of the root system. You can see it's got some nice big long roots and then a bunch of other smaller roots. That's fine. So what we're going to do, get that off. We got, like I said, a little bit of substrate in there, and we're just going to put this down on top. Make sure to get those big roots in there. The big roots matter much more than the smaller ones. If you break a couple roots, it's not the end of the world. Your plant will do fine. So we just gently put it in there, and then we'll have some moss prepared and we will just kind of gently pack in our roots in there. You don't want to press in too hard or be too rough with it. Just gently like secure your plant in its new pot. Okay, so our plant's secured for the most part. It's almost always going to be a little loose because it's just been uprooted. I could have potted this one a bit deeper. You can see it's got a lot of this trunk exposed. You can pot it deeper. I like it like this actually because it looks pretty cool. It gives it like a cool little bonsai effect. What you can do if you feel like your plant is not secured is take just a long spike, long training spike, and just slide it in there. And that way your plants have something to grab onto to grow upwards, and you don't have to worry about your plant falling over on you if it's not fully supported. Alright, so this is our potted plant. I'll just go take him and throw him in with the rest of the Nepenthes, and then he will just start regrowing and living his happy little carnivorous life. Alright, so now we're going to address our cuttings. What you're going to need is a plastic bag, a small pot with your substrate in it. We're still using 100% sphagnum moss, and then your cuttings. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cuttings, and your new plants are going to grow out from the little node. Most of these leaves, and then we're going to put them to the side, and we're going to go through and do that for the rest of these. Even if they're growing pitchers, the pitchers are not going to survive. They'll never come through. I've done this plenty of times, and the best thing you can do for your new cutting is just to completely limit all of the leaves on it. Even on a tip like this, you've got this new leaf coming up, it's most likely just going to end up molding on you. So I just go ahead and take that little bit off. There's a couple ways you can deal with the bottom of your plant. There's plenty of different methods. What I like to do is just shave off the wall of the plant to kind of expose more of the rhizome. So we're just gently taking off the first layer of the skin, and then you could see the core of the plant, or the rhizome. That's where your roots are going to burst out of, so we're just making it a little bit easier for our roots to start growing. Okay, so we've got our pot, we've got our cuttings ready. What you can do at this point, if you like, is take your cuttings and dip them in rooting hormone. It's really just a fungicide. I haven't noticed any difference. I've done controls where I've done rooting hormones in one set and no hormones in another, and they all have a pretty good chance of rooting. So I don't even bother with it anymore. We're just going to take our pot, put some holes in it. That just didn't even work. We're just going to cut through that. We're just going to stuff our cuttings into here. You could do a couple per pot. I usually do max of 4. And then I usually do 2 sets of these pots per bag. So we're going to just throw some more media in here. And then stuff these 2 in here. And then we're good to bag these up just like that. We're going to take our baggie. So we're going to take our baggie, just throw our new cuttings in here. I usually put the date on here. Where I'm located, it only takes about a month before you get roots on your plant. So dating it makes the life a lot easier. Alright, so this is another set of cuttings I did that have been in here for about 2 months. I took most of the other ones out last month. These ones weren't quite ready, so I gave them a little bit more time. So we're just going to go in here and pull these out and see how they are doing. So you can see their leaves are a lot more developed than they were on the cuttings. Let's actually open one of these up. So we're gonna peel away the substrate and see if we have any roots, which you can feel the tension, that you could feel the plant actually holding on to it. But if you look close up, you could see a bunch of little black roots, which means our cuttings have been successful and we can pot this plant and let it assume its normal growing pattern. And you can see on this one some more black roots. So these were the slow starters and they still got some roots on them. This one has a little bit of growth but no roots on them yet. You could throw them back in there. At this point I'm just sick of waiting on them, so I'll probably just toss him. Alright, so potting these is pretty much the same as potting the larger plant. Obviously everything's just a little bit smaller. Your roots are, there's a lot less roots to these plants, so you want to be a little bit more gentle with it. If you really break the little roots it does have, it'll really set your plant back. So just be gentle with it and just kind of like pack in your soil, your substrate around it slowly. And just make it sturdy enough so that the plant doesn't fall over or fall out of the pot, because this is probably when it's at its most fragile state. And then you've got your new Nepenthes cutting. Alright, and those are our Nepenthes cuttings. So these are the cuttings that I first pulled out from that last batch I just showed you. These are about a month old, so they've been out for a month and you could see the growth on them definitely. They've started to get their pitchers. Once you notice your pitchers, you'll notice that the plant itself will do a lot better, and they pretty much are home free at that point. They're just smaller Nepenthes plants. Just take care of them how you would any other plant. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions or you want to see any other content, any plant related content, leave a comment and let me know. And thanks for watching. Peace.